Hey everyone, and welcome back to the CouchSide Sports Report. It's
Oosh.
Tuesday morning, it's 8 a.m. or whatever time it is, and you're tuned in.
Yes, it is, whatever time it is.
And you've tuned in once again. I'm Simon, that's Dylan, and welcome
Yes,
back
sir.
to another episode of the CouchSide Sports Report, where today we're going to be talking all the latest sport, all our subjective opinions on that sport, and also previewing what's coming up later this week and maybe even next week.
Yeah, very true. Talking smack, talking shit, and talking sport. That's what we do.
That's your own little catchphrase for the podcast, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I think that's actually pretty good.
It does pretty much, it sums up the podcast quite well.
Yep.
Maybe it has to be the bio because I don't think we ever went back to that from the last episode.
No, we didn't. I was surprised. I say surprised. I wasn't surprised, but we didn't get anything. But I might be tempted to use that. So
It could be good.
there we go.
Could be good.
But yeah, before we start, go follow us on all the socials.
Please.
At CouchSide.network, TikTok and Instagram. And then you can also subscribe on YouTube. Search up CouchSide Network, you'll find us. And then also, if you search up CouchSide Sports Report on Spotify, you will see it there. And also links will be in the YouTube bio
And the Instagram bio.
and the Instagram bio.
Follow the link tree, follow the goods.
Follow the goods. Yes, that's absolutely right. But shall we get into it, mate?
I think we should.
Big things already for the Aotearoa sport that you've got down here, mate.
Oh, yeah, quite a few. I mean, it's not as busy as it has been earlier in the year, but it's slowly going to get busier and busier, both here and internationally. So we'll just kick it off with a little bit of a quick preview.
Yes, sir.
This Sunday, All Blacks are back in action after a few weeks off, and now we'll be in Cordoba, Argentina,
Yes, sir.
taking on Los Pumas on Sunday morning at 9:10 in that morning. Great kickoff time, I might say, 19 on a Sunday.
Yeah, it is pretty good, eh?
That's pretty good if you're not working.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
Unfortunately.
am working, but I have a feeling I will be able to somehow watch it at the same time.
Yeah, that would be ideal. But it's just great. It's not like your early morning South African kickoffs where you're getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and regretting
Facts.
everything. 9 o'clock on a Sunday, nice and easy. A little bit of a
man.
sleep in. But we're just going to quickly preview it. We don't really know too much about what's going to happen. We do know what players are probably not available. Those are all the guys with injury covers. So probably no Tamaiti Williams, probably no Tyrell Lomax, no Luke Jacobson, no Caleb Clark, and no both Cam Roygaard and Noel Hotham. So
both out.
all of those guys probably not considered. Do we see mass rotation? I don't think so.
Nah, you can't. Surely you don't in the first game of the Rugby Championship. And also, one thing I think I can guarantee is that Argentina are going to come to play.
Argentina are going to come to play. They've never actually been in the All Blacks in Argentina. They've only ever done it in Australia or New Zealand. So they'd love to do it on their home turf because...
True that.
Of course they would.
Oh, fans will go mad for that.
Oh, they'd go absolutely crazy. So you can understand that Argentina's going to bring out everyone. I think we'll name close to what our strongest team is currently.
I reckon bar the injuries, we're naming our strongest team.
Yeah, maybe we see a cameo for a couple of people who haven't had a lot of All Blacks minutes. I'm guessing possibly Simon Parker, because a lot of people seem to suggest he's someone they really want to utilise against South Africa specifically because of his player profile being very big.
Yes.
And being quite a powerful loose forward. So maybe we see him...
But he's also, I would think, got to play before that point. So,
exactly. Well, he'll need to play before South Africa if he's intended for those games. So, well, he has to play against Argentina, whether it's a cameo off the bench both times or cameo off first test, starting in the second test. But yeah, it will be very interesting to see if they continue with Tupou Vai blindside, who's on the bench in that result. Do we see Josh Lord get a cheeky appearance because of the Luke Jacobson injury currently? Do we see Leroy Carter tested immediately on the wing? Do we who gets on the bench? Does Finley get the nod over Kyle Preston? Also, do we see Tavita Mafaleo make a debut?
True.
Do we see George Bauer back into the mix? There's a few possibilities. And also, a lot of people are going to suggest, now's the time to start McKenzie at 10. And I do...
No.
Nah. I reckon he starts one of the Argentina games. I think if you're safe, you do it in the second one. You do the first one, so you play the game with your strongest team. You know what Argentina are going to give in the second test, and then maybe you go, okay, we'll give McKenzie the shot at 10. I would rather him play at 10 minute fullback, obviously, because you got Will Jordan and Ruben Love.
Oh,
who should be playing at fullback at the moment. But look, I wouldn't be upset if I saw DMAC named to start for the next test, I'll be like, okay, cool. You just got to, prove that you're in that position for a reason. And I think he definitely can. And he did last year against some games, like specifically against Ireland.
The one game, yes.
He showed why. And the one game, yes. But like it proves that it can be done. Yeah. And we'll talk about the fly half position specifically in a minute because I haven't listed it on our run sheet. But
I was actually about to bring that up right now.
Something has happened. We can mention it right now. It was announced the other day that NZ Rugby / the Crusaders have re-signed Richie Mo'unga for 2027. Well, technically July 26 to the end of 27.
Yeah.
So Richie will play NPC next year for Canterbury, and he will be eligible for the All Blacks in October of that year.
Yeah.
So we will see Richie on next year's Northern Tour. We will also see him playing for Canterbury and NPC, which will be actually kind of cool to see. I've been watching a lot of NPC already this year, so it'd be cool to see someone like him playing and probably tear it apart. And then, and then you'll have him back at the Crusaders in 2027. Obviously, that's 2 seasons away. What does that mean for the backline at the Crusaders? It could look completely different to now, and we wouldn't bat an eye. But we have to think Mackenzie is in a bit of a not predicament, I guess, but he will definitely want to show he's a very capable 10.
I would call personally I would call it a predicament. First of all, I've seen a lot of people saying Beauden Barrett's going to retire before 2027.
No.
Bro signed until 2027, so let's calm down there. He's also the best 10 right now in the country, and I think he's proven that not only in these 3 France tests, but I actually think he proved it before this point, last year.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was about to say before this point. Yeah, that is last year.
Oh.
Look, Richie Mo'unga coming back. Look, he's probably going to start at 10.
Yep.
I would hope that by that point, Razor goes, and I'm fine with this, with having Beauden Barrett off the bench.
Yeah,
at that point,
I'm very
I
happy
don't
with
want him
that.
starting at 15 again.
Yeah.
So
we've been there, done that for 2 World Cups.
Exactly. So yes, Mackenzie's that if he's 10, he's that third 10.
Yeah.
And
but what a third 10 to have?
Yes, absolutely. It gives us depth. Although I still worry that we don't have any players under the age of 28 that have proven that level yet. But
I mean,
it does give us depth.
If transfer rumors are to be believed, one of those younger 10s who just needed game time, and Josh Jacob could be going down south next year to the Highlanders. That would guarantee a starting spot for him, probably competing with Tane Robinson.
Yeah.
It goes to Highlanders. I think that's great for him, great for the team. But we just mentioned Damien McKenzie, a great third option at 10. Does this not just ring parallels almost to 2015 when our fly half options were Dan Carter, Colin Slade, and Beauden Barrett?
Yeah.
3 very, very good 10s.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think Colin Slade missed out on most of the games for Beauden off the bench.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure Colin Slade was at 2015. I think he often gets forgotten as someone who was on that team.
Yeah, because of course 2011 Dan Carter goes down, then Colin Slade comes in.
He was the backup to Carter.
Goes
and
down.
only named 2 10s.
Yeah.
So that's why he had Aaron Cruden come in and then
Stephen Donald, the GOAT.
So, but the fact we have 3 quality 10s, and we know Beauden,
it's huge for us.
Beauden can play fullback. Damien can play fullback.
Yeah.
He could cover the wing if you needed to against it won't be Namibia at this point. It'll probably be a Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Because we had TJ Perenara play at 10 against Namibia. So Damien McKenzie on the wing, that's not going to be an issue. But that only it's only specifically for probably one game in the whole World Cup.
Yeah.
But for McKenzie, it's a predicament.
Yeah.
But I feel like next year he will probably be playing 10 the whole year if Jacob does leave, and he'll hopefully prove he's still got it at super level because he always does.
Oh, he'll always have it at super level. There's no problem there.
Next year before October, so we're talking the mid-year tests where we will be hosting 3 different European teams because of the Nations Championship.
Yep.
And then the South African tour, because that's happening next year, he will get the potential to play on that tour. So when Richie comes in October, there is a question like, should Richie immediately go ahead of Damien or ahead of Beauden in the depth chart? And I think when he comes in, he probably should be treated as someone either at the same level or maybe even slightly below Damien, only because he hasn't played in New Zealand.
Who's Richie?
Richie.
Yeah,
I'm saying that
I can see that
because a lot of people act like he is the savior, right?
Yeah, let's calm down on that.
I don't think he's the savior. But
he's a great part to the team. Don't get me wrong, and he's a solid as 10.
He is an incredible 10.
But the savior, Crusaders fans, let's calm down here.
I don't even think it's just Crusaders fans. I think it's people who just aren't.
It is.
It's just people who aren't convinced about Bowden or Mackenzie. Yeah. And you have people all across the country. You would even have Blues and Chiefs fans who might not be convinced about both of them.
Yeah.
You know? In some regard.
Yeah.
But I think Richie will probably prove very quickly he's at least second choice in the 10 conversation.
Yes.
He is younger than Bowden, and I feel like if he's the sole 10 on the pitch and you have Will Jordan as his fullback,
completely fine.
I think, that works very well. And he's not going to be super old. He's going to be, 32?
Yeah.
Bowden is going to be 36, but I feel like he'll still be fine off the bench.
Yeah, I think if with Mo'unga there now, to me the All Blacks have two, and I'm going to compare this to the NFL, but I think with Bowden and Richie, you have two World Cup winning starting 10s.
Yes.
Now I'm not saying. Now, with the NFL, I say all the time, because quarterback's a huge thing. You want the all-star quarterback, things like that. Similar in this case, to me, I think your team is looking for the Super Bowl winning quarterback. If you have a quarterback that can win a Super Bowl, you have a chance to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. He doesn't have to be, the Patrick Mahomes, the Tom Brady, the thing you want. That's a luxury and a half.
He can just be like a Matthew Stafford or a...
Yeah, exactly. A Super Bowl, but a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I think it's the same with the 10s. I still think Bowden Barrett, by the time 2027 comes around, will be a World Cup winning 10. And we'll have Richie Mo'unga. We'll have two World Cup winning 10s.
And I think a great question in relation to that is that what other countries at that World Cup will also have World Cup winning 10s?
The only other country I can think of is probably South Africa.
I mean, I'd say France.
Yes, who you've got Intermac.
You've got Intermac.
And then you've got, is Jelly Bear even playing?
I don't know. And I was just saying if each country had at least one World Cup winning 10.
Yes.
Not multiple.
Yes.
English fans will tell you they're 3, but it's probably one, maybe 2.
Yeah.
It depends on how good Finn Smith and Marcus Smith are in, in a couple of years. Oh, and Scotland have Finn Russell, so
yes, true.
That's fine.
Who I'm sure will be at the 2027 World Cup.
Yes.
So,
but unfortunately, him being on the Scottish team probably means he isn't going to be a World Cup winning quarterback. But fly half.
Quarterback.
But I'd love to be proven wrong by the Scots. They haven't made a World Cup semi-final since 1991.
Yeah, true.
And they do have a very good team. Obviously, using the eligibility rules to the max, and that's not to discredit them when New Zealand is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
How many players have we benefited from growing up in the islands and coming over during high school or later? But it is something you do have to point out. You know, it's like, the Scottish team's so good. The Scots are really good at rugby. Well, yes and no.
Yeah.
You know? Yes and no.
Compared to our standard, because we're here in New Zealand, yes or no. But back to the preview of the game.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh, God.
Outside of selections and the win, what is one thing you want to see from the All Blacks in this upcoming game?
Oh,
I'll answer the question after as well.
I just want us to play a consistent 80. Not visually dropping and peaking at certain halves of the quarter. Like, we actually consistently play the same, and by consistently, I mean well.
Yes.
Consistently well.
We play consistently shit the entire time. I'm happy. No.
Consistently well
yes.
for 80 minutes. I can think of a couple of games where the All Blacks have been just consistently shit. That one game against Japan a few years ago when we only won by 7 points.
Oh,
that was like, I remember watching it at my mate's house, like on the edge of the couch, like, if we screw this up.
Yeah.
All of the shit we gave South Africa for losing to them in the World Cup, it's coming straight back to us.
Yeah.
And even though we won by 7 points and scored like 38, that was again, we're just consistently, we're like, what are we doing? So and it wasn't even a bad team we named.
Yeah, and that's huge as well. I do agree with you with that consistency for the 80.
Yeah.
I think it was absolutely missing in the third game against France.
Yep.
Second game against France, I would say we played a good 70.
Yes.
And in the game before, we played a good 60.
Yeah.
So, yes, you're right. I'd like to see that. One thing I would like to see, look, we know this. Argentinians love to kick.
Yes.
They love to kick the ball.
But
they're very...
man, can they run it?
Yeah. But at the same time, I would like to see the All Blacks hold the ball, man.
Yeah.
Because I think that, and I think we talked about this last week with the difference between the women's game and the men's game.
Yeah.
You know, I think the All Blacks can get caught in a mind where they're kicking, I think, a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And I think against a team like Argentina, I don't think that's going to end up working.
No, because Argentina, they're only like one, break away from scoring a try. We've seen some of the tries they've scored recently and have scored in years past where you just give it to their fullback or their winger and they just leg it.
Exactly.
And we have to be careful in that regard. I think if the opportunity to kick is there, and it's the best option, do it. Don't run with the ball every play.
Yeah.
But I think we definitely have the potential to just, bomb it down the wings. And, we've got guys like Rico who are still capable of doing that. And whoever's named to him on the other side, whether it is Severus or someone else.
I'm going to presume at this point, and I will actually ask the second question to end it off, which will be who you think is going to be the starting team and who I think is going to be the starting team.
Jeez, okay.
But yeah, I know it's off on the spot. But I would still, I'm not going to say don't kick the ball at all. It's not what I'm trying to say.
No.
But what I'm trying to say is when we kick and we strategically kick well, do not fall in love with it. Get back to the basics and earn the right to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the problems I have with D-Mac's game is I think D-Mac loves the sideline kick a little bit too much, and can oftentimes get the All Blacks caught in a situation.
Yes.
So. Yeah, I would like to see that. I'm going to call it a little bit more of a possession game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, look, if the strategic kicking is working, yes, but don't fall in love with it. Go back to basics, earn that right, get it out to our, get the forwards humming, and then get it out to our backs and let them go to work.
And I also just want us to be better under the high ball because that is something that a lot of our players do struggle with. And I know that's the one drawback people have to Leroy Carter in particular.
Yes.
I believe when we played the Chiefs in that Super Rugby quarterfinal, the amount of long high balls we kicked at him, really, because he didn't really do anything in that game, and that was partially because we just kept on logging the high balls, and that's why players like Caleb Clark are quite important because
that's his game.
That he might not score a try, but he's collecting the high balls, and we're not losing the turnovers because that happened against France quite a bit.
Yeah.
But you wanted me to,
let's go starting teams, man. To end this off, let's go starting teams.
We'll just do starting teams because I don't think I have the brain power to do the bench. So we'll just
do my bench. But you're all good doing starters.
I think I can do the bench actually. Yeah. So we'll have the Groot, Taylor, Newell, and then
that's your front row.
That's my front row. If he's fit, Scott Barrett. If he's not, Patrick Tuipulotu with Fabian Holland.
Yep.
Vai, Savia, Satiti.
Yes.
Ratimer, Barrett.
Yep.
Wings will be Rico. I'd love to see Nadawa Okada here, but it's going to be Reese. And then Jordan, and then Barrett, and at outside center, probably still Proctor. I want to say.
I would presume that as well.
It could be Leonard Brown, but then on the bench you'd have Tokiaho. You would have Ollie Norris.
Yep.
And Tossi.
Yep.
And then it depends if Barrett is fit.
Yeah.
If Barrett is not fit, then I'd probably have. Actually, no. I think my bench stays the same. It's probably Jacobson and Fino, no matter what.
If Jacobson's...
Jacobson won't be fit. So Fino and Kiddifi.
Mm-hmm.
If Barrett is fit, then maybe you see Fino off for Tuipulotu, but it's probably still Fino Kiddifi. And then I would go, just to be safe in the first test, Finley Christie.
Yep.
Then Mackenzie. And then the backup, it's probably, it could be one of three guys. It's either Tupai, Tavanawa, or Anton Leonard Brown. Or Nadawa. But I'm going to go and say, because I think he's the best option here, Tavanawa.
So my team would be, like you said, in the front row. You've still got Ethan de Groot, you've still got Cody Taylor, and you've still got Fletcher Newell.
Yep.
Then in your locks, I think Scott Barrett is actually fit.
That's good.
It sounds like he's fit to go. So I'm going to say Scott Barrett and Fabian Holland, who I hope continues to impress.
So do I.
Yeah. Then 6, Tupou Vaa'i, who's been great there. Adi Savia, and then the returning Wallace Satiti. I think you start at 8. 9, Cortez Ratimer. 10, Bowden Barrett. Rico Ioane on one wing, and I do think they start Sevu Reece on the other. Then at 12, Geordie Barrett. At 13, I think they're going to stick with Billy Proctor. Then you've got fullback Will Jordan. Then off the bench, you've got Toki Aho, you've got Ollie Norris, and you've got Tossi. This is where it's going to change up for me.
I just had a realization because I forgot someone's in the team when they're not. I am not naming. I'm dropping one of Fino Kirifi because there's props and cons to having both of them, and replacing one of them with Peter Lakai. Don't know who, but Peter Lakai's there, and also forgot Simon Parker. Actually, no, screw it. No Kirifi, no Fino. I'm going Lakai Parker on the bench.
Wow, you really think the first test of the Rugby Championship, they're going to whip that out?
No, yeah, I reckon they will because we know Lakai's good. He played the full 80 against France last year in Paris.
Lakai, yes, I get.
He can do it.
Simon Parker, straight off
the bench, easy.
Oh, okay.
Off the bench, I don't think it's the biggest risk in the world.
So I'm going to go because I think he deserves a spot to play because I thought he was very impressive in the game that he played. I think so I've done my three. So I got Toki Aho, Norris, and then what's his face? Tossi. And then I'm going to have Tui Pelotu off the bench.
I think he deserves it.
I think he absolutely deserves it.
Whether you can fit him in.
Yes.
You know?
And this is where I would then have Lakai, who can cover really 6, 7, 8. So that's who I would have there. And then you've got Finlay Christie off the bench to be safe. But also at the same time, I think he's the best option you've got there right now. Damien McKenzie, and then my 13, I think personally they're going to select Leonard Brown.
Yes.
That's who I think they're going to go with. I would be happy with Tavatava Nawai there.
So would I.
I'd be happy with Tupaia there. But I think it's going to be Leonard Brown. So that would be my starting 23. With that being said, I think it's going to be a great game. I hope us All Blacks fans don't underestimate the Argentinians. They are very good and have gotten better over the years. So, but let's go into where is it played? Cordoba. And hopefully get a good W, man.
I hope so. And also just more insight into my madness. The reason I went with Parker Lakai, like you said, Lakai 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, but primarily 7 and an 8.
And 7 and an 8.
Simon Parker 6 and an 8.
Yeah.
Also got the height if he needs to fill in at lock. But that's like if Fino has to fill in at lock.
Yeah.
So that's just more context to my madness. Moving on.
Yes, sir.
We've got the NRL. And some very, very varied score lines here today. Mostly following the norm, but some results. The Storm gave the Broncos a hammering to start the week, 22-2. Not great for the Broncos' top 4 aspirations, although they're still in the top 4, and we'll get to that later. The Knights absolutely destroyed at home by the Panthers, 48-12. The Raiders, a good win for them, 28-12. The Dragons, good win for them at home, 22-14 against a decent Sharks team. The Dolphins, now we always know the Dolphins are capable of scoring so many tries or losing by so many tries, and they did lose at home, 64-12.
Can we talk about this game for a second? The clips that have come out of this game.
Oh God, yeah.
Tackles, fights, almost squaring up, push and shove. Bro.
I mean, the Dolphins are kind of the Roosters of Brisbane in a way in terms of them just signing so many guys for so much money.
Yes.
But not as hated like the Roosters are for bending the salary cap. So I don't think the Dolphins have.
Still crazy. If you haven't seen it, and I'm not saying this because I am like wanting fights and stuff like that, but if you want to see some pretty great competition, go and watch the clips of this game. Forget the score, just go
and watch it. And then we go to the Warriors, unfortunately going down to the Bulldogs 32-14. We'll briefly talk about this. Conditions in Sydney were horrific. It just looked borderline unplayable at times.
Not an excuse.
No, of course not. Never said it was. The Warriors did make some late changes to the team. Tanner Boyd dropped out, and they named Tamati Martin. That's all good. But then Tamati Martin gets injured after half an hour, leaves Chanel Harris-Tavita the only real kicking half on the team. To make matters even worse in the first half, both Leka Halasima and Kurt Capewell got off injured. Capewell had to move into the centres because they moved Chance to half, and then he gets injured. So, okay, where are all the backs? Evan Lecker has obviously been a very key player for the Warriors this year.
Yep.
The Bulldogs were just able to progress, able to get the job done. The Warriors had some bright moments. There wasn't really anyone you'd point at and said, you performed extraordinarily bad compared to everyone else. Chanel was very unfortunate to really be the only half on the pitch.
Yes.
And it's very hard to win a game when you only have one half on the pitch. To an extent that you'd probably call it a reasonable excuse. And the Bulldogs were top of the league for so long this year. They're one of the best teams in the NRL. The wheels did fall off slightly, but they seem to be coming back on now.
Crichton's a gun, dude,
on that day,
honestly.
Crichton, Carraz, Burden, even Lockie Galvin. You have Tracy. You have Bronson Shearer. You have a lot of very, very good players, and that's just the backs. Haven't named any of the forwards, like former Warrior Josh Curran. Didn't even mention Marcelo Montoya, who is a winger. But it's a fantastic team.
Yeah,
so it was always good. I think a lot of people underestimated because the Bulldogs had been on a little bit of a downward spiral.
Yeah.
But there definitely were some conditions. But obviously the Warriors haven't been the same since good old Mitch Barnett and Luke
Metcalf went down.
Have been down. Some players who still played very well. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, if he does go to RL 360 or whatever it is, it will be a sore miss for the Warriors. And also, Sam Healy is playing very well in absence of Wade Egan.
Yes.
He's a very good hooker. It will be very interesting to see what happens with those two because they're both hookers and nothing else, and you don't know how you're going to fit both of them on the team. But he's been playing very well in his absence. I think the Warriors next week, they just need to just hope no one else gets hurt.
Yeah, it's the Warriors bug, man, and
it just seems to be.
Yeah, it just sucks. It really sucks. I mean, look, I say this. I've officially become a Warriors fan this year, but even just watching the Warriors over time, the injury bug is. It's just I don't know if there's something behind the scenes that's going on.
I think it's just a dose of bad luck.
Yeah,
and maybe a couple of the players maybe being slightly injury prone. I know Metcalf's had long injuries before, but I wouldn't call him injury prone. I think it's just unfortunate timing, and you see brilliant teams in all sports just get plagued by an injury bug.
The injury bug that's plugged into the team.
Exactly. So you can't prevent these things. You can do your best to try to prevent it, but you're not always going to stop it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's just part of the game.
But it wasn't a great Warriors game. But I think most people kind of saw, it wasn't like just an absolute collapse. It was all of these things, and also not being the greatest team on the day combined to the loss. I don't think it's all doom and gloom. There's 4 games to go. The Warriors are still 5th. We'll talk about the table in a sec.
Yeah.
But
I still, like I've said, when the Luke Metcalf and Mitch Barnett injuries happen, I still think we make the top 8.
Yes.
But we won't be in the top 4.
No. It would be a bit of a miracle if we do, and also to get further into the playoffs, I think would require some very inspirational performances. But the Warriors have done that in finals before. Look in 2008 against the Storm. Look in 2011 against everyone until the final.
Yeah, true.
They weren't supposed to go as far as they did.
Yeah.
But the other games, in a bottom of the barrel fixture, the Titans lose, unfortunately, again very closely to the Rabbitohs, 18-20. I say bottom of the barrel because these teams are a part of that rare group of teams who are much worse than everyone else because it's very tight till about 12th on the table at the moment. And then the Eels get a 1-point win over the Cowboys, so a huge win for them, 19-18 to round off the round. The Raiders are still top on 38 points. They're ahead of both the Storm and the Bulldogs on 2 points, by 2 points. The Panthers are now 4th on 31 points, overtaking the Warriors, who have fallen to 5th on 30. They're still 2 points clear of the Broncos, who are 6th on 28 points, who are also on the same amount of points as the Sharks, who are 7th, despite the Sharks going down to the Dragons. And the Dolphins are still 8th on 26 points, ironically level on points with the team who beat them by 52. The Roosters, who are level on points on 9th. The Titans have returned to the bottom of the table, and there are just 4 games left. The Warriors are 4 points ahead of 9th, with 8 possible points on the line, and they host the 11th placed Dragons on Friday at 8 p.m. The Dragons have been a real mixed bag this year.
Yeah.
They'll be hoping to just name the best team, everyone who's going to perform well. just hope nothing happens. They need a win. I think they need good conditions. They need a good win. They need a good atmosphere. A win here will make the confirmation of finals footy closer and will instill more confidence. I believe the other teams we have to play are like some Manly. I think we're playing a couple of teams who aren't very good.
Should we? Let's.
You have a look.
Let me go to the thing.
You see who the Warriors are playing up next, and I'll just also.
But the Warriors need to win, man.
They need to win, and we'll preview some of the other games. Another huge Thursday night clash last week was Storm versus Broncos. This week it's Panthers versus Storm. So the Panthers, if they win this game, will, I believe, no, they won't overtake anyone, but they will get closer to the Storm and the Bulldogs.
They're still crazy.
They'll be within 3 points.
That's crazy.
Which is nuts. But also Broncos versus Dolphins on Saturday will be a good matchup. You know, it will probably be sold out. They'll want to be the best team in Brisbane. But also the Warriors New South Wales Cup side claimed the minor premiership on the weekend against the Bulldogs at Leichhardt. So that's in the bag. They'll just be hoping to continue playing well in the playoffs, because the New South Wales Cup final, I believe, is on the same day at the same stadium as the NRL Grand Final.
Yes. So come on, the boys.
You can preview the upcoming Warriors fixtures.
So the Warriors have got, of course, the Dragons this coming Friday. Then the week after that, they've got the Titans in the Gold Coast.
Right.
Then
go very good or very bad.
Then we've got the Eels at home.
We should be winning
the second to last game. And then the last game of the season is the Sea Eagles in Manly.
Okay, so some variation there. Some people would be very confident and say we could win all four. Some people would say we could lose all four, and either person could be right by the end of it.
Yes.
I think we need to win at least 2 of these, I think, but probably 3 to really stand.
I do think we really need 3.
We really need 3. We could possibly sneak through with 1 or 0 if everyone else shits the bed, but we can't rely on that. And we hope the Warriors stay healthy heading into the next month of football, because the injury bay is probably very, very full.
And with that being said, that was not very good for the Warriors, but the women's Warriors...
Jeez, yes.
Different story.
We'll get to that. The Sharks kicked off the NRLW week with a 20-6 away win over the Dragons. The Knights, a big win over the Tigers, 30-6. And then the Warriors, just before the men's team played in the same very torrid conditions, thumped the Bulldogs 34-6. Patricia Maliepo and Tara Watere both scored 2 tries. And this was out Michaela Bragg. This was a team without Michaela Bragg.
There you go.
And that was just a incredible Warriors performance.
Yeah, it was.
Putting on that many points on one team, it shows that this Warriors team, despite being full of a lot of people who've never really had NRLW experience before, are full of very capable NRLW players. They've recruited the best, the very best from New Zealand, also managing to bring in the best players from either Union or other players from the NRLW teams. Just really good. I think, I say this every week, my main goal with this, in my head, for this Warriors women's team, I think what it should be is that you're not the worst team in the league, and you're not putting in the worst performance out of all the teams that week.
Yes.
Because with expansion teams, it's very easy to fall into that situation. And we're a returning team. We're technically not an expansion team. And I think to get more people hooked in, if you're not the worst team and you're not being blown out by 40 points, it's all good. You're going to, attract a lot of people, and you're also going to prove to everyone, which they don't really need to, but they are, the rugby league club for women in New Zealand, because they are, but also to people who are like, oh, no, I'm not going to watch it because it's the NRLW. There was a 40-plus point game.
Facts.
With some great tries. And like we said last week, the hits in the women's game are brutal. They're running the ball. It's very entertaining.
And can I just say, Lo Titi, again. Fantastic. She looks like she could be mean.
Oh yeah, I think this Warriors team is also going to be a big booster to the actual Kiwis, the Kiwi Ferns team as well.
Yes.
Who have confirmed they're playing this end of the year. I forgot who they're playing specifically, but for our Auckland-based listeners, the Kiwis men's team, they're taking Samoa to Mount Smart and Tonga to Eden Park. So
those games are going to pop off.
I don't know how full Eden Park will get, because Mount Smart was fully sold out when I went and saw the Kiwis play Tonga. Probably one of the best atmospheres in sport I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't know how different it's going to be in Eden Park, but surely there's 40,000 Tongans in Auckland who would go.
I honestly think you could see that game sold out. I think that's why they moved it to Eden Park after, was it last year?
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, after last year's game at Mount Smart.
And I know the Kiwis, well, New Zealand Rugby League, I think they're pretty confident they can get more actual Kiwi supporters there. But hey, honestly, one of the best parts, one of the reasons why the atmosphere was so good last year is because the crowd was 90% Tongan.
Yes.
So honestly, if you're not Tongan, maybe don't go.
Don't say that.
Actually, I'm kidding, because I want to go, and I just want to be the only. I just want to be in awe of the whole crowd singing church songs.
That's why you go if you're not Tongan for that.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think a lot of people, aren't. No, sorry. Let me rephrase. I think a lot of people with international rugby league, they're not convinced it's worth your time. Trust me, it's worth your time, especially if you're playing teams like Tonga and even Samoa. The Samoans are going to go all out as well. They get a game at Go Media, Mount Smart, whatever it's called now. And you'll know the game's happening because especially the Samoans and also the Tongans, there will be parades for days on the streets in South Auckland leading into both of those games. It's great. It's a great show of culture to be able to represent, even if it's, only a couple of hours away on the plane, you're still a long way away from home. Yeah. And it's, for a lot of people, the opportunity to represent where they're from in a positive light. So I can't wait for those games.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. And
moving on from that Warriors-Bulldogs game, the Roosters beat the Titans on the Gold Coast 24-8. The Broncos beat the Raiders 44-28. And then the Cowboys get a narrow win over the Eels 14-10. The Warriors move up to 6th as a result in a 10-team competition. I'm not sure how the final system works, but you'd have to think they're fairly close to it. They're level on points with the 4th place Cowboys, the 5th place Sharks, and the 7th place Eels. So that's very important. They're not too far off top 4.
No.
And then they are a point ahead of the Bulldogs and the Titans, who are 8th and 9th. And the Roosters are still undefeated after 6 games on 12 points. The Broncos and the Knights are 2nd and 3rd on 10 points.
That's close, man.
It is close.
It's close.
The Broncos and the Knights are maybe only one poor result away from dropping out of that top 3. And if you've got teams like the Warriors or the Cowboys right on their tail, it's going to be tough.
Who can be consistent?
That's
going to be the big one.
But the Warriors, they host the bottom-placed Raiders on Saturday night. I believe this game's in Hamilton. I'm pretty sure the Warriors women's team are bringing most of their home games to Hamilton this year. So if you're in Hamilton,
fair enough. Or
if you just don't mind going to the Tron, go see the Warriors play the Raiders. Then the Roosters versus the Knights and the Cowboys versus the Bulldogs should also all be good matchups. So if you want to get stuck into some NRLW,
and if you do mind going to Hamilton, understandable.
Yeah. Get tested on Monday. Moving on. NPC.
Yes,
second round.
It's back.
I watched so much NPC this weekend. I'm loving it. It's the first year in a really long time that I'm watching NPC. Yeah. And I've been introduced to so many players, and also my opinions on a lot of players are completely switching because I've never seen them in the roles they're given in NPC, because a lot of them are just guys who can't crack it at Super for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So it started off with the tippity top and the bottom of the country. Northland hosting Southland and coming out 22-17 victors. Yeah. Simon Parker played this game for Northland. Then North Harbour, some days your boys, some days not your boys, went down at home to Taranaki 24-46.
I can't lie to you. You told me this guy teased me. This guy teased me. Yeah. So this is what happened. You messaged me and go, oh, you should turn on this Taranaki North Harbour game. I didn't turn it on, but I looked at the score on Tribe.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's 20-19 at halftime to Taranaki. It's pretty close. Yeah, it didn't end up that way.
No, 46-24. But Taranaki are a very, very good team provincially wise.
Yes. Yeah.
Although on paper North Harbour are also quite good, and Cade Banks was showing why. He's very good at NPC level. Didn't really get a run out the Blues, and he's barely played for the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Hopefully he finds a place where he can play. But there's other players on both teams that you just watch. You're like, gee, I kind of forget how good a lot of these guys are.
Yeah, man.
Especially on both sides. Then you had Waikato versus Wellington. Now, I didn't watch this game because the North Harbour Taranaki game was at the same time. Wellington coming out 35-24 winners. Then you had Tasman hosting
Yeah, that's tough.
Manawatu 49-17. Leicester Whanaonoku on his return to NZ football, or NZ rugby, I should say, scored a ridiculous solo try in the first half. Started on the wing, got moved into the centre pretty early on. Tasman having the luxury of being able to sub in Karanto Moifalo for David Havili after 35 minutes.
Madness.
Tasman team, very good, but Manawatu were not all, bad or whatever. Jordi Villion played very well. He's third choice at the Canes. I think he probably should be second. And then Filimoni on the wing for Manawatu also ran out really, really well. And also Vernon Basin as the substitute hooker. He was running rampant. He reminds me of possibly an even more scarier Aomoa, and hopefully one who isn't injured often.
Might have to see where he goes, eh?
I think he'll probably end up at the Canes, but they already have Raymond Tuputupu.
Also, if your last name's Basin, you're already good at rugby, mate. Morsese debuted for Manawatu.
Yes, his younger brother,
and then also the sister, Topher Basin, I'm pretty sure her name's Topher, was playing for the Women's Blues.
Yes.
I don't think made the World Cup squad, but played for the Black Ferns 15 against South Africa. So there you go.
But yeah, because with Basin, I think he's great, but he was on the bench to Raymond Tuputupu, who is second or third choice at the Hurricanes this year.
Yes.
So it'll be really interesting to see where they go. And then, unfortunately for Auckland, can't see out a game again. Canterbury coming out 19-15. Canterbury, a pretty good NPC team as well. On paper.
Sam Darry played great.
Yeah, it was so good to see him playing so well. Clearly showing that he's a level above NPC, which usually means you're an All Black.
Yes.
But their forward pack is quite intimidating. Their guys were they've got Tom Christie, they've got Corey Callow was playing excellent.
Yes.
And he's maybe he's currently fifth choice Lucy, I think, at the Crusaders. Maybe not next year. But Canterbury have some very, very good players. I find they've got Punivai on the wing. I know he's from
Canterbury.
There. Yeah, he's on the wing for Canterbury. The guy from the Hurricanes. I'm like, what's he doing here?
Oh, well, there you go.
But both wingers for Auckland had good moments. Cody Vai and Xavier Tito Harris. Apparently, the Landers want Tito Harris. You don't need him. You've got Tangito. You've got Nadeke. You've got JRK. You're supposedly signing Stanley Solomon.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Wingers. The Blues have Caleb Clark and who? Yes, Cole Forbes, Corey Evans can do the job. Unfortunately, we never saw anything of Rion Poole last year. And maybe we could. And yes, AJ's a winger, but I want him as a centre because I think he plays better there. And
I also think Corey Evans should be the Blues' first choice fullback
after both him and.
I mean, I know you've got Zahn Sullivan.
Yes.
Personally, for me, I loved Corey Evans at fullback.
He was a brilliant. I don't even want to call him a stopgap. I think he was a brilliant fullback. But unfortunately for Auckland, couldn't get the job done. Still some. But I think this Auckland team, I think we forget.
Really young.
It's very young, and you could. I think one try was because Rico Simpson kind of didn't know what he was doing, trying to field a ball, and it was pounced on for a try.
Rico Simpson got talent, though.
Shea Fihaki plays quite well for Canterbury on the wing.
Yes.
I see him as a wing, not a fullback. I know that All Blacks depth chart, which went around the internet last week, had Shea Fihaki as a fullback. He is a winger, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He is just a very tall winger. Kind of that prototypical right wing the All Blacks always like to play.
Yes.
The fullback-esque winger.
Yes.
I think he needs probably another season at Super to prove he can crack that team. But I think he possibly could. And then the week rounded off with Counties Manukau losing at home 22-39 to a Bay of Plenty team, which looks very, very good.
Yes. As good as it did last year.
Although at one stage Bay of Plenty had two men off at the bin at the same time.
One forward, one back.
And they were able to still hold on. They've got some guys who've not been able to break into NPC who are very good, like Lucas Cashmore is one name I can think of.
Yeah.
And other names I'm blanking on because there's so many players in this country.
Yeah.
And then Otago narrowly going down at home to another good team in Hawke's Bay, 21-27.
Yeah.
Hawke's Bay, I know Devin Flanders is their main guy. Unfortunately injured for most of Super this year, so he didn't play too much. They had Fakatava off the bench, which is kind of crazy.
Wow.
NRD starting. And then other players who, again... I don't think San played this game, but he is at Hawke's Bay now on loan from Auckland, which you don't really see much of.
No, you don't.
But heading into this upcoming weekend, Southland get to host Manawatu. There's probably a game both teams could maybe think they can grab, maybe slightly favoured for Manawatu.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday, the 2:05 p.m. kickoffs, and Northland hosting Tasman. Tasman will be hoping to get another win over this. And then a game I'm actually going to, newsflash, Bay of Plenty versus Canterbury.
Ooh,
I'm looking forward to this one.
Going to Tauranga, mate.
Going to Tauranga at the Domain, first game there. I think this will be a great game because Bay of Plenty are good and Canterbury are decent. So hopefully see some good players, some good rugby. And then later on the day, Auckland hosts Taranaki. This will be tough for Auckland, but they need a win. They haven't won in about 8 NPC games. So
yeah, we need the. I say we need the W.
The Goals need the dub.
North Harbour need the W and Auckland need the W. All my teams need the W.
Speaking of North Harbour, they're in Napier against Hawke's Bay on Saturday night, so that will be
fantastic.
Tough. Then Wellington host Otago on Sunday at 2:05 p.m. and then you've got Waikato hosting Counties Manukau on Sunday. And that's NPC, and we'll move quickly over to the first round of the Farah Palmer Cup.
Yes, sir.
For this year. Some big scorelines here, but some tight scorelines. Kicked off with Wellington beating Tasman 39-7. Then Northland, huge win over Taranaki 48-17. I think it's probably just the much bigger rugby culture in parts of Northland, I think, which brings them that scoreline. Auckland getting a decent close dub over Waikato 31-28. And then
what was this?
Scoreline of the week.
What was this?
Counties Manukau versus Bay of Plenty, 88-0.
Oh,
huge. That's huge.
The Volcanics really did blow up.
They really did. And then Canterbury beating Manawatu 44-5. And then in a 1 point decider, Otago get the win over North Harbour 34-33. Probably wondering, that's only 6 games. Turns out NPC only has, Farah Palmer Cup only has 13 teams. Southland don't have a team. It's probably because there's not a lot of people in Southland. So next week, Auckland have the bye, and the team who had the bye this week, if I can work it out very quickly, I believe was Hawke's Bay.
Yes.
So next week, Bay of Plenty, who got thumped, host Manawatu, who also got thumped. So let's see what happens there. North Harbour, who narrowly lost to Otago, will host Taranaki, who got thumped by Northland. Northland, who had a great win, take on a team who got thumped in Tasman, so you probably favour Northland there.
Yep.
Hawke's Bay, who we don't really know much about because they had to bye, host Canterbury, who obviously dished out their big win to Manawatu. Wellington, who got a big win over Tasman, host Otago, who got the win over North Harbour, and then Waikato host Counties. So that might be a scary game for Waikato, considering how good Counties were against Bay of Plenty. Auckland have the bye this week. And I'll let you finish off the local sport with the FIBA Asia Cup in Saudi Arabia. Dylan, how are we doing?
Yes, sir. So the Tall Blacks are playing in the FIBA Asia Cup at the moment, and they have gone undefeated in their group. So they beat Iraq 178. They beat the Philippines 94-86. And then Chinese Taipei actually beat the Philippines. So Chinese Taipei was our last game. That was for 1 and 2. And we came and put the whooping on, beating them 118-78. And Flynn Cameron scored 28 points, which is the most any Tall Black has scored in the FIBA Asia Cup game.
Sweet.
So
shout out to the boys in Chinese Taipei.
Absolutely, man.
Been there, great hospitality. Love to visit again.
There you go. And one day, hopefully, I'll get to visit there.
It's a great place.
Some point.
It's a vibe. It's really a vibe.
It's vibes?
It's a vibe. It's crazy because you forget how a lot of the Pacifica culture we see in New Zealand, it all originated thousands of years ago from Taiwan.
This is a very good point.
And when I went there for the World Sports Station Championship in 2017, they had an opening ceremony. They had a local indigenous group do a performance, and they sang and danced. I'm like, this is like so close to a Waiata. I was like, am I still here?
Are you up north?
And it was awesome because it was like,
that's awesome, man.
We're so much closer. Everyone's so much closer in the world than you'd think.
Yeah, man.
And it's just a great experience to go overseas.
Yeah.
And it's a really funky country in a good way. It's an island, so it's quite small, but it's got it's very well built up.
Well, it was not a great experience for them to play the Tall Blacks.
No,
however,
but they beat the Philippines. So
they did beat the Philippines.
And beating the Philippines, I think, is a pretty decent achievement. Not the best team in Asia, but I think we had a bar between being one of the best teams in Asia and not. If you can beat the Philippines, I think you're considered one of the best.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So New Zealand top their group, which means they go directly into the quarterfinals, and they have like qualification for quarterfinals rounds, so they're playing those at the moment. So I think we'll either meet Japan or Lebanon. If we meet Japan in all these FIBA Asia Cup rankings, you go and look at them. You've got Australia at 1, fine.
Yeah.
Then you'll have Japan at 2 and us at 3.
I feel like though I feel like we can beat Japan.
We can beat any
I feel like we can.
Australia, we'll see.
I thought Lebanon were a lot better.
Lebanon are very good. I believe they came up against Australia.
China are usually pretty good as well, but they never seem to beat Australia, and we seem to be able to beat them quite frequently.
Yes, we have a surprisingly good record against China. I mean, we beat Yao Ming back in 2002 at the World Champs, where we finished fourth at. So
rookie Yao Ming, where the hype was real with him.
Facts.
And then I know Iran aren't too bad. I know Jordan aren't too bad as well.
Very true.
And then like the Philippines are decent. Obviously they're probably the best support in Asia.
Yep, facts.
Best just one of the best basketball cultures in the world.
Yes.
Which is just unfortunate that they've never been able to replicate that success.
Yeah.
But if you want to dive into one of the craziest sports league in the world, just try to read what's going on in the PBA.
Yeah, the Philippine Basketball
Association. Or just read the rules for the PBA or the teams.
Yes.
It is so, like, you read it for 5 minutes, like, sorry, I'm lost.
Yes.
What do you mean? You have 3 competitions in a year, and you have height limits, and they change depending what competition it is.
Crazy,
It is crazy. And I think it's only height limits for international players as well, because I'm pretty sure there have been a couple of rogue Filipinos who have like hit the 6'5" and over benchmark over the years.
I mean, you had Kai Soto who got drafted but did play for the Adelaide 36ers, Filipino 7'2". So
it can happen.
Very rare.
It can happen.
But there you go. No, that's awesome. But yeah, so we'll either meet Japan or Lebanon in our quarterfinal. What do you call it?
In our quarterfinal, yeah.
Yep. And then in the semis, China's gone straight through. So has Australia.
Well, China's gone straight through to the quarters. So
New Zealand will either face China or South Korea or Guam. I'm going to presume it's going to be South Korea versus China.
Shout
in
out
the
to
quarterfinal.
Guam for making it out of the group.
Yeah, man.
Because I think that because Guam obviously
very small
country, but something of America. So
yes, it's a colony,
a territory.
Colony, yeah.
So obviously have the slight American influence. Obviously, the Philippines were an American colony for quite a bit as well.
Yeah.
So that
Spanish colony as well. Another big basketball nation. Yeah. So
always forget the Spanish-American War had stuff in the Philippines, which because I always think like Spanish-American, that's weird. Oh no, yeah, Latin America, duh. I mean, like, in the Philippines, I'm like, huh? I'm like, yeah, sure.
And with that being said, a little bit of historical facts on this podcast.
Yeah,
America, you did start it. But this is true. But to end off this basketball conversation, the Breakers actually finally made their final import signing. They signed, and I'll make sure I get his name right. I believe it's Robert Baker II.
I think that's correct.
6'11" power forward. Will probably play center for us.
Needed a big American. I told you that after we signed the guard we signed a few weeks ago.
Isaiah Brockington.
I was like, well, we need a big now, and I'll be pretty happy. I got to go to more Breakers games this year. I went to quite a few.
Yeah,
we
do. We do. I mean, I would go for work, but I want to go and watch.
Yeah. You know I went when we last made it to the finals.
Oh my God, the game we went to is the best basketball atmosphere I've ever been in.
It was so great. They somehow upgraded Spark to have slightly more seats. It was a great time, and they made home at Spark Arena, which is awesome because it's a massive venue, and the fact that a basketball team
get close to filling it out.
Who can fill it out
most nights
regularly in New Zealand is awesome.
Yeah.
And to wrap up the local sport, this has been a very long local sport, because I don't think we're going to be talking internationally for a while, because I think we're only covering one sport internationally this week.
Yes.
It's the Australia Cup, also known as the knockout tournament for the A-League. Wellington played Nunawading City.
Nunawading.
Nunawading.
You're gonna love this. That's a place I've been.
You've been there?
I have been to Nunawading. It's in Melbourne.
Why? When did you go to Melbourne?
So I used to go on basketball tours.
Oh yeah.
My auntie and her, and a colleague of hers who was a huge coach for, especially for crews. So they would run these Kiwis tours to Melbourne.
Right.
I went in 2013 and 2015, and in both years we played teams from Nunawading and Nunawading.
That's crazy.
Yeah, right.
So they're like a second, well, technically third tier Victorian team.
You could somewhat compare it to what's it? Not Auckland FC, Auckland City FC. Somewhat
below that.
Yeah.
But Wellington, they left it late. I think this game was also played in Sydney of all places. I'm not sure why.
Really?
Or New South Wales. That's what I found.
I
guess
guess it's
wrong.
Australia Cup. I would get. I
might be wrong. But Wellington left it late. It was not until the 90th plus 4 minute that Hideki Ishige scored to give Wellington a very narrow 1-0 win. They all faced the winner of Heidelberg United versus Western Sydney Wanderers. Probably Western Sydney, but you never know.
Yeah.
In Auckland FC this Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. take on South Melbourne, one of the more historic clubs in all of Australia. Not been doing very well this year though.
Yeah.
If they win this, they face Sydney FC. So that will be a tasty game if it does happen. I think this will be a good game anyway. South Melbourne will have a pretty good atmosphere, you'd hope.
Yeah,
and that. Actually, no, hot off the press.
Hot off the press.
Don't
What's
have
going
the
on?
full squad, but I saw this just before we started the podcast. Silver Ferns have announced their squad.
Yes, they
for the
have.
Tammy Jameson Cup or whatever it is, and
Yes.
Grayson Wicke is
in
named.
the team. Yes.
So she hasn't missed anything. It looks like.
not really.
Grayson Wicke is back. I didn't check to see if she was the only overseas based player.
Yeah, I haven't checked it yet, but I did see
We
they
probably
announced-
should talk about it next week.
Should we actually? Why don't we?
I mean, the squad I saw, it didn't have like where they were playing.
For the netball fans out there,
For the netball fans.
I will grab.
I know one personally.
I will grab the squad.
Grab
Do you know one personally?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, there's a high chance in New Zealand you know someone who likes netball.
No, this is a very good point.
This is a very,
but
very good point.
Here's the squad. So if my phone would load, you've got.
It doesn't have the clubs though, does it?
It does not have the clubs, but I will name the names because I do recognise some of them. First of all, you've got Karen Berger.
Yes.
You've got Kate Burley. You've got Taylor Earl. You've got Maddie Gordon. Catherine Hall. You've got the Heffernan twins, Georgia and Kate. You've got Kelly Jackson. You've got Paris Mason. You've got, of course, Grayson Wicke.
Yes.
You've got Kimiota Poi. You've got I think it's girlfriend at the moment of Mr. Duplessis Karifi, which is Mila Ruelu Buchanan. Then you've got Martina Salmon. You've got I can never say her first name, but I know her last name Stith. You've got Peta Toyava, Saviour Tui, Filda Vui, and then you've got Amelia Wormsley. And that is the Silver Fern squad. Who's the person you know, mate?
Who's my friend who likes netball?
Oh, is it a friend that likes netball that will want to hear it? Oh, yes.
No, not someone who plays at the highest level.
I was like, ooh.
Although I do, a friend of mine via my sister, or I'd consider a friend of mine, is very good friends with Grayson Wicke, but I've never met her.
Yeah. Actually, funnily enough, for the games of netball I've been to, I've actually been quite close sitting with Grayson Wicke's family. They've either been just in front of me or just behind me. They're awesome people. They sound like fantastic people.
I'd be a fantastic person if my daughter was, one of the best netball players in the world. I'd be loving it.
Oh, well, you'd hope so.
Yeah, you'd hope so. But
that's a great way to end off the Aotearoa sport.
Moving on to international sport, where we're only talking about football today. Hey,
before we do this, because I have a couple of friends, not many of them, but a couple of friends that'll complain about hearing about football. Stop it.
Stop it. It's the most popular sport in the world for a reason. Grow up. And moving on.
Unfortunately, no, I'm just joking.
We're just going to be briefly going over the transfer rumours. They're getting smaller and smaller now, obviously.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be previewing the Premier League, talking about a couple of other things, and then we'll be doing a special little predictions to end off the episode. So international football. Darwin Núñez of Liverpool has joined Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia for 53 million euros. Kingsley Coman is now a top target for Al Nassr by Munich winger. And they also just signed centre-back Inicio Martinez from FC Barcelona,
who played for my club, Athletic Bilbao, at one point.
Yeah, because he also played for Real Sociedad.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Maybe. Benjamin Šeško confirmed to have signed for Manchester United for 85 million euros. They're now open to letting Højlund go on loan with a buy clause. AC Milan are apparently the front runners for that. They're also interested in Brighton midfielder Carlos Baleba, but we'll see if they can pull that off.
Yeah.
Newcastle are signing centre-back Malik Thiaw from AC Milan for 40 million euros. They needed a centre-back.
That's yes.
They'll be happy to pull that off. They're also set to sign Juan Wisser from Brentford, probably a striker replacement for Isak if he does leave, for around 30 to 40 million euros. And then Chelsea are reportedly looking to move on all of Nicholas Jackson, Christopher Nkunku, Ben Chilwell, Raheem Sterling, Axel Disasi, and Renato Vega.
Chelsea did let along a lot of the young guys that go as well. I know up and coming centre midfielder, probably more a defensive midfielder, went to Burnley. Yeah, Ugochukwu went to Burnley, and then was it
Dewsbury Hall's gone to Everton.
Yes, he has.
And also they signed sold Brohard to Burnley as well.
Yes. Who is Guiu? He's a striker.
Oh, Mark Guiu, he's just gone on loan to Sunderland.
Yes.
I think they still rate him quite highly.
Yeah.
And then they are still trying to sign both Xavi Simons and Alejandro Garnacho. They're just waiting on everything.
We'll see what happens, man.
We'll see what happens there. And then that's it for transfers. Premier League preview.
Yay! It's already back.
Starting off on
football have no off season.
Well, this year kind of sucked because the Club World Cup took a lot of guys out for had a much longer actual season.
True.
Basically. So Premier League starts this Saturday
at
7 a.m. We'll do a little bit of a preview. I wrote this up very quickly. Liverpool are your defending champions, and despite losing players such as Trent Alexander-Arnold to Real Madrid, Darwin Núñez to Al Hilal, and unfortunately Diego Jota, who we talked about a few weeks ago,
and Luis Diaz.
They have signed the likes of Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkic, Florian Wirtz,
Hugo Ekitike,
and still linked to Alexander Isak. So they'll still be a lot of people's favourites. However, both Arsenal and Man City have recruited as well in the areas they needed to, and Chelsea have also just come off a Club World Cup winning postseason. And I don't need to say that Chelsea have heavily recruited because they always heavily recruit.
Yes.
They're always signing players left, right and centre. But do not count out big bounce backs from both Spurs and Man United.
Yeah.
They finished 17th and 16th respectively last year, but they have recruited pretty well. Manchester United will have their first full season with Ruben Amorim as manager. They've looked very good in pre-season, and Spurs have Thomas Frank, who I very highly rate as a manager.
Yes.
And Newcastle and Aston Villa should still also be solid teams. Leeds, Burnley and Sunderland are your promoted teams. All three teams have brought in some decent players. It will be tough for either of those teams to stay up. The past two Premier League seasons, the promoted teams have always gone straight back down.
Yeah.
It's always hard to guess the surprise packages. Forest are still one based on last season, but they've lost a few guys. Brighton always seem to be good, but they've lost quite a lot of people. Everton have silently recruited. They've brought in a couple of decent players, and they haven't really sold anyone from memory. And then... you wrote this down because I didn't write this.
Yes.
Crystal Palace and Liverpool did play against each other in the FA Community Shield, where the Premier League winner goes up against the FA Cup winner from the previous season. Palace won on penalties.
Yeah.
Great for them. But Ekitike and Frimpong both scored for Liverpool, with Wirtz assisting Ekitike's goal.
And before we move on, I know it probably got taken out of context, but Van Dijk, when your new striker scores 4 minutes into a game and is assisted by a new player, don't ask for a new striker, Cuzzy. You could have somebody there.
I think we're talking about depth more than anything, because I think he's really the only striker there right now.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think, who have they got behind him? Schlobslei's a attacking
Technically,
midfielder.
someone like Gakpo, but he's really a winger.
He's really a winger, yeah.
So
it'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting. Very interesting. The season, like we said, starts on Saturday at 7 a.m. Liverpool will host Bournemouth. Then later on Saturday, much later at 11:30 p.m., Aston Villa will host Newcastle, which should be a very, very good game. Then following that on the Sunday morning, you have Brighton v Fulham, Sunderland versus West Ham, and Tottenham versus Burnley at 7 o'clock. So 2 o'clock, sorry. And then Wolves will host Man City at 4:30 a.m. Then Monday morning comes, Chelsea host Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest host Brentford at 1 a.m. But then another massive game to start the year, Manchester United will host Arsenal at 3:30 a.m. And then the week will end at 7 a.m. on Tuesday with Leeds hosting Everton.
And before we move on to this next thing that, yay. Before we move on to that,
a lot today.
My team, Leicester, they had their first game in the championship this morning. Comeback win over Sheffield Wednesday.
Well,
2-1.
Big up to Hull City, a 0-0 draw against Coventry. So we didn't lose to start the year.
Also, big ups to Liberato Kukacha making his debut for Wrexham.
Yes, but before we get to that, very quickly, I have set up a fantasy league for this year. So
do you know what we're going to do?
What?
Live right now.
Oh, no.
I'm going to join the league.
Oh, you're going to join the league?
Live right now.
I'm going to name my team now. Like, it's going to take you a minute. Not a minute, an hour to even pick a team because you'll get addicted to it.
No, it's going to take me an hour.
But
like, I'm going to make sure I've got the right app.
Trust me. It's so easy to just build an easy team and then make changes to it.
Can you just before we go, do you do fantasy on the Premier League app itself?
Yes, it's on the Premier League app. But our code, so if you want to join a league, you'll have to create a Premier League account, create your team, and then you'll be able to join our league. Our code and all I'm
doing this later because I don't think I actually have a PL account. So.
And all lowercase is HK5YK0.
Should we put in the thing?
I will repeat. HK5YK0. I can put a link in the link tree as
there
well.
We go.
If I remember. But that's our fantasy code. Would like to see you guys in there, and maybe we'll shout out the people who are doing well, which I don't know who else is going to join the league, but hopefully a lot of you do. Moving on to the Kiwis who've already played, and like you just mentioned, Liberato Kukacha made his debut for Wrexham, played 85 minutes, and the team were 1-0 up. He went off. They concede 2 goals and lose 2-1 to Southampton. So unfortunate for them, but a good start for Wrexham. Honestly, Southampton obviously just got relegated from the Premier League, so they're a decent team. And Tyler Binden made his championship debut for Sheffield United. Unfortunately, he played the full 90 and lost 4-1, but I think he was probably their best defender on the pitch.
Yeah.
And then Ben Old in his first Ligue 2 game for Saint Etienne, as they were relegated last year, scored 1 and assisted 1 in a 3-3 draw away at Stade Laval. So great start for him and a decent start for the other two. As we move on to the final part of today's podcast, our Premier League predictions.
Yes, sir.
Dylan, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? Do we want to run through our whole predictions first and then the other person goes?
No, this is what we're going to do.
How are we going to do it?
So we're going to go by 4. I reckon.
By 4?
By 4. So go. So I reckon go 1st to 4th, 5th to 8th. 9th to 12th, 13th
I'll do you one better.
What's that?
What if we don't do it by 4s, but we do it by...
The only reason I say do it by 4s is because that's how I feel like the Premier League is Champions League, Euro.
What I'd do is top 4.
Yep.
Then you do 5th to 10th because that's really the battle for the rest of Europe.
Yes.
It's still Champions League. Then your 11th to 17th as your mid-table.
Yes.
And then your 18th to 20th your relegated teams.
Let's do it.
So are we going to go work our way bottom from up? Or
I kind of want to go top. I kind of want to go top to bottom only because I feel like the top 4 to me is pretty.
I think most people are pretty locked in on the top 4.
Yeah. It's just placings really.
I can go first if you want.
Well, why don't we do this? Because I know you're the football guy of us.
Sure.
I will go first on this one.
Go for it, mister.
Top 4. So I've got winning the league for the second time straight.
Yes.
I've got Liverpool.
Yep.
Second, for 2 straight years, I've got Arsenal.
Yep.
Third, a little bit of a comeback, I've got Man City. Mm-hmm. And then 4th, I've got Chelsea.
Cool. So mine's slightly different. At Champions, I have Liverpool.
Yes, sir.
Defending champs. They've recruited very well, despite losing some key players.
Yep.
Second, I have Arsenal, just like you.
Yes, sir.
I think they'll get closer than last year.
Yep.
And I don't expect Gyökeres to tear the league apart, but I still think it'll be good.
Yep.
And they've brought in more quality apart from him, which will help them.
Very true.
Third, where I've gone differently,
you're going Chelsea.
I've got the Chelsea.
I'm not mad at that.
I think it's a bit of a dark horse pick, but they've basically signed. Signing everyone will pay off.
Let's hope.
it's probably too early for them to genuinely challenge for the title, but the foundation is there and it's getting better. And in the kind of same vein, I've got Man City. They've recruited very well, but I think Chelsea might just pip them this year.
Yeah.
But I But like Chelsea, they have a very solid foundation. A lot of the guys they've signed will really help them going forward.
Yeah. And can I just say, once we get out of this top 4, shout out to Arsenal for hiring one of our friends who's gone over.
Has he been hired?
Yes, he is now a...
I did see he was there.
He is now at least, I'm pretty sure...
Or he was just given the opportunity.
Well,
he got to work there.
It got updated on his LinkedIn.
Oh, in fact, he works there.
It got updated on his LinkedIn.
That must be a bit awkward because I know he supports Chelsea.
Yeah. Our one of our friends who we used to go to university with, Tane.
Pick up Tane.
Shout out, man.
Also, slightly the reason why this podcast exists, because the last time I saw him in person, he asked me where the next podcast episode was. Talking about our last podcast, and that prompted me to message Dylan and say, I just saw Tane, we need to do the podcast.
Facts.
And look where we are 24 episodes in.
There we go. But yeah, now he's moved over to London and is working at Arsenal, bro, on the field at the Emirates. Insane
it's great.
Stuff.
Someone from AET Radio from 2020 working at the Emirates.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And what he did before
at the Blues,
you will absolutely recognise his game doing the Blues socials. So
yeah, that
well deserved.
Legendary DX edit before the Chiefs game last year. Legendary.
So good, man.
So good.
That's our guy, man.
So good.
Love
it
you,
got
man.
removed.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
And actually, if you remember at university when we did our superlatives,
I think
he was most likely to be successful. So there you go.
It was very apparent even then.
Yeah, very apparent. So Tanya, shout out to you, man. Keep going to do that work. But go work at Liverpool, eh? But
why Liverpool?
Because Liverpool, I like, one, and two, most of the guys at work are Liverpool fans. But there you go. Still awesome. Going to work for a literal Premier League top team is insane. So now we go 5th to 10th.
Yes.
I do believe, honestly, you could mix these up in whatever way you want.
Yeah, you definitely
But
could.
these guys, I think, will all fight for, at least in my opinion, Euro football. 5th, I've got Aston Villa.
Ooh, yeah. Makes sense.
I've got Aston Villa. 6th, I've got Spurs.
Ooh.
7th, and I know this will throw you off, but I'm putting them there. I don't care. 7th,
I'm scared now.
I've got Brighton.
Okay,
I've got Brighton at 7.
Totally crazy.
At 8th, I've got, and I swapped 8th and 9th quite a bit. 8th, I've got Newcastle.
Okay.
Yeah. 9th, guess what? I've got Crystal Palace.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I know. I do think Crystal Palace are...
You're forgetting one team here, mate.
That's who I may have at 10th.
Who's that?
I've got Manchester United.
Okay.
So that's now you could flip those in any order. I don't think Man United anywhere near to me personally a 5th spot. I have to see if Amarim can actually manage, and I have to see if a 3-back in the Prem can work, because it notoriously does not.
I mean, it has in the past.
Well, Chelsea did win a title with it. I would call that more a 5-back. But
Victor Moses, he's not really a defender.
Exactly.
He's not really a defender.
That's a good point. But I think very rarely has it worked. But we'll see if he can do it.
Pep's technically done it.
Who?
Pep. At Man City.
Oh, yeah, but employing false backs is a little bit different to employing wing backs. So, it's going to be interesting. You could flip-flop those anywhere. I could put Brighton in 10th and Man U in 7th. I think, with that being said anyway, I do not think Spurs and Man United are finishing 16th and 17th this year. No, let's just say that.
I don't think that's going to happen. And where you went with Man United in 10th, I've got them in 5th.
Yes, you did.
So I think it will click for them. From what I've seen in preseason, they've been good. I think they have signed attackingly very well. They probably just need a defender.
I will say the three they have up there now with Šeško, Cunha, and Mbeumo.
Yep.
I will say, do those? And you can confirm this for me.
I think they will start.
They will start. I'm not worried about that. Those three each come with their own issues though, as I've been hearing.
Oh well, yeah.
I'm talking in terms of attitude, not in terms of on the pitch.
I think they'll try to make it work.
Of course they're going to try. They have to make it work.
I have a feeling I'm not a Man United fan in the slightest.
Yeah.
But I think Cunha,
they'll be happy with
Šeško,
you being 5th, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And I think they're playing Bruno slightly deeper as a result. So we'll see how that works. But it seems to be working very well. At 6th, I've got Newcastle. This does depend if they lose Isaac, but they haven't really lost anyone yet, and they've signed
Alanga.
They've signed Alanga, and they're signing Tior, and they've signed Ramsdale, so it's not like they haven't done anything.
So that's why I'm saying with mine having Brighton above Newcastle is quite a throw, but I've always loved that Brighton team.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they've always been managed well. They somehow find all this young talent that seem to work at a Premier level.
And they're still doing, but Newcastle were expecting to sign Mbuemo and Cisco and Cunha and Hewson and all of these people who have signed elsewhere. So to them, they've had a horrific window, but I think they're still solid. At 7th, I've got Spurs. Like with Man United, I think they will click. The squad's been completely overhauled. It looks like they're going for Savio now, who we didn't mention earlier at Man City. So I do like Frank as a manager as well. They've brought in Kudus. They've brought in other players I can't think of. I've only really lost Son and a few others. I was about to say, they've still got James Maddison there, my Leicester brethren. Who is injured for the rest of the season already.
Yep, fantastic.
Which is not great.
Well, that throws mine. Shit, I did not know that.
Yeah.
But I still think it'll be a much, much improved team.
Oh, it will be. And then at 8th, I've got Aston Villa. They haven't had a lot of outgoings, and they've had a few incomings. If Newcastle do keep... Oh, wait, that doesn't actually matter anymore because I flopped it around. But they'd maybe overtake Newcastle potentially if they lose Isaac, but it depends who they bring in. At 9th, I've got a team you haven't mentioned yet, who finished 7th last year.
Nottingham Forest.
We've got Nottingham Forest.
I'm not mad at that.
I don't want to put them this far down by 2 players, but they haven't really lost as much. They've lost Alanga, and they've brought in some decent guys from Brazil, and they've brought in a winger from Italy for like 42 million, who's quite young, and Doi. So you'd hope he's good. He'll be replacing Alanga, I assume. And at 10th, I've got Brighton. I think this is a real testament because they were 8th last year, but obviously keep in mind Man United and Tottenham were 16th and 17th.
Yes.
So, at 10th, they've lost quite a bit, but they've also recruited really, really well. The people they've brought in. So... you could, like we said, you could honestly flip that 5 and 10. Oh, you could, and I think those new players Brighton have signed will fill the voids left by the other guys. Eventually, maybe not this season. But eventually. But that's my 5 to 10.
Yep.
Do you want to kick off your 11 to 17?
Yes, sir. So at 11. The team you just mentioned, I've got Nottingham Forest.
Yes.
I do think Alanga is, I think, quite a big loss. And the reason I say that is because I'm not saying these guys won't be able to do it at Nottingham Forest. Maybe they prove me wrong. They're also Leicester's biggest rival, so, you know. But, I still respect them, though. Look, Chris Wood had a huge season. I think a massive part of that huge season was the feed he was getting from Alanga. Because you could see the difference with Chris Wood when he was playing for the All Whites. Than when he was playing for...
compare All Whites to Forest.
No, hear me out. I'm not comparing them.
Dylan.
Hear me out. Hear me out. The reason I am saying that, I'm not comparing them, but what I'm saying is when Chris Wood gets great ball, you see the difference.
Yes.
And there is no comparison between the All Whites and Nottingham Forest, don't get me wrong, although... what's it called? Tyler Binden on loan at Sheffield, but he's at Nottingham Forest. Marko Stamenic, who's still on loan.
He's still in the squad at the moment.
Oh, he's still in the squad?
At the Mo. We'll see where he ends up.
And then, is there not a third one there?
You've just named 3.
Oh, yeah, well, there you go. So, and Chris Wood, of course. Yeah. So I'll have to see how those wingers go, but I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt yet. So I've got Nottingham Forest at 11. 12th, I've got West Ham.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got them there.
Sure.
13th, I've got Bournemouth. 14th, I've got Brentford.
Yep.
15th, I know this will be a change from yours. 15th, I think that's where Fulham end up. They did quite impress last year. Yes, I know Man U and Spurs were there, but I still think they've got a fairly good squad to finish mid-table. And then this is where the change comes in. I do believe that Leeds and Sunderland...
are staying up.
Both stay up this year. Okay. Leeds 16th, Sunderland 17th. So that's my 11 to 17.
Sweet. Well, mine's a bit different. At 11th, I've got Brentford. They did lose a lot of their core, but they've brought in some decent players, and they always seem to nail their recruitment like Brighton. So that's why I've got them there. At 12, I've got Bournemouth. They've lost basically their entire defense, but they've signed some pretty good players. So I don't think the fall-off will be nearly as bad as some people are suggesting. At 13th, I have Everton. They haven't really lost anyone, and they've signed some decent players, and they might be signing Jack Grealish. So I feel like they could finish a little bit better than
If they sign Jack Grealish, I may change my mind. I'm sticking.
Yeah. And 14th, I've got Crystal Palace. Oh God, it's gone. Again, not a lot of change in this team. The drop off is just because the other teams are getting better. Obviously, they've won the Community Shield and the FA Cup winners, and they're playing in Europe. So
I could see those reasons.
That might be why they go down a little bit. At 15th, I've got Leeds. It's maybe a bit of a reach, but they've barely lost anyone, and I think they've recruited quite well. I think
they signed some big dudes.
I think they'll be the most comfortable of the promoted teams. 16th, I've got West Ham. I thought I was going to name them as a relegation side, but they've only really lost Kudus, and they've added some decent players, so I think they'll survive.
Graham Potter's their manager now.
I believe so.
Yeah, so I think he's definitely a manager that can keep them up, if not mid-table.
Absolutely, and I think they might add another player or two.
Yeah.
And then after that, I have got Sunderland in 17th.
Yeah.
Huge recruitment from them, but that never guarantees safety.
No.
But in this case, I think it does.
Yeah.
So move on to your relegated teams. I already know all three of them.
Yep.
And I think we agree on two. So that's a good start.
So my relegated teams is 18th, I have Everton.
Yes.
19th, I have Wolves.
Yep.
And 20th, I have the recently promoted Burnley.
Yep. And that's almost exactly what I've got. In 18th, I've got Wolves, partially because I've picked them to go down every year for the past 5 years. And yes, this year they've actually made some decent signings, but I think they've just lost. Like, they've lost Cunha and they've lost Ait-Nouri.
Yeah.
And I know they've still got Strand Larsen. I know they've signed a couple of decent-looking guys, but I feel like it just won't fire, unfortunately. And I will probably be very wrong. In 19th, I've got Burnley. Unfortunately, I think this is where huge recruitment doesn't really guarantee safety, but I think losing Trafford will actually hurt them a lot. Even though they've signed Dubravka, who's fine, but Trafford was a big part of that team. But I might be pleasantly surprised by Burnley. I hope I am, but they have recruited heavily. Like, bringing in Broja and Ugachukwu from Chelsea is very big, and other side, Kyle Walker coming in as well, which is quite funny.
Yes.
And then at 20, I've got Fulham. The squad has not changed. I don't feel like if you're a mid-table team like Fulham, who's surprised in a year where two historically good teams did very badly, can afford to not change anything. Because I feel like you're going to get completely eclipsed by everyone. If they sign a couple of players, maybe they'll go up in my predictions, but I know they were good last year, but nothing totally excites me. I think it will be the team where everyone's a bit shocked that they don't play nearly as well as they've previously done.
I could see that reasoning.
But it could be
I can see that reasoning.
any mid-table team.
Yeah.
It could be Bournemouth or Brentford or West Ham or Everton or Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Probably not. Or any of the promoted teams. Like, it really could.
And the reason I've put Everton and Wolves as well, but Everton and mine, I think Everton have been around that level for quite a while. I know you say they recruited well and didn't sell a lot. You are right, but I'm
always right.
Yeah, sure. But I think I don't know. There's just something. It may not even be about the players. And if you hear a helicopter in the background, sorry, it's just landing on top of my house. You know.
Yeah. It's the cops that finally found you.
But no. Look, I think both Everton and Wolves, I think they've been around there for too long. I
don't think that means they have to get relegated.
No,
though.
I'm not saying they. I'm not.
Everton,
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying. I think it's just going to be. I do think. To me, I think Leeds and Sunderland, both those teams, I just think are going to be too good. Good for both those teams.
Everton have brought in some really good guys. Barry looks like a great striker from Villarreal.
Of course, I'm saying this about Dewsbury Hall, big Leicester guy.
Yes, Dewsbury Hall's in.
Yeah.
They've got Asnu, who's came in from Bayern, who's quite young at left back. They've got heaps of options, and I think, obviously, new stadium, I think they're staying up. I think they're definitely, like...
Didn't know they had a new stadium.
Yeah, new stadium's just opened, so it will be used. Goodison's still standing for now.
Yes.
I think it's hosting the women's team full-time, which is great.
Yes.
So, but I think Everton, I think they've kind of gotten over that hump of hovering around the relegated zone. Some teams have been in that hump and then gone out, like Spurs, 15, 20 years ago. We're one of those teams who almost went down, never went down, and sustained. Aston Villa are a team who flirted with it and then got sucked into it and then actually took a while to get back.
Yeah,
Same with Sunderland.
I see that.
Who were up for a while and then got relegated, and then they got relegated again the next season, and then eventually got back up and are now back in the Premier League for the first time in quite a while.
Yeah.
But we're probably both very wrong. We'll come back to this in May, and we will talk about how off we really were.
Yeah. But it's I can see that. I just think that it's I don't know. I could see with those signings why they may turn it around. I'm not sure it's going to happen personally for me. But hey, we'll see.
We will see.
If they're, and I will say this because I'm surrounded by a lot of Liverpool fans. I'm sure they'd want their main rival to be a good team.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think they want them to get relegated because I think they like beating them every year, although they haven't really been doing that recently.
No, it's been the one almost bugaboo team. But hey, we'll see what happens.
A little bit, but I think on that bombshell, we'll end off today's episode. Thank you very much once again for tuning in to another episode of the CouchSide Sports Report. I've been Simon, that's been Dylan, and you can catch us everywhere on Spotify and YouTube. Find a link in our bio on a few of our platforms. You'll find us on every other platform, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube. You name it, we're probably there. And I think until next week, that is us. We'll be talking about what happened with the All Blacks in Argentina and Cordoba.
Yep.
We'll be talking about what happened in those first games in the Premier League.
Yep.
And we'll probably be having some funny chats against what we all ended up doing in fantasy, because that's going to be very funny.
But can I just say, if you join our fantasy league and my team is crap, it's my first time, mate.
One of my mates, we convinced our other mate that she should join fantasy because she's all about the footy now. And
is that right?
She picked her team purely based on the attractiveness of the players.
I'll be honest, that might work,
It does, but then it's not the most sustainable way to build the team.
No, this is a
You're
good
not
point.
making the most out of the money.
This is a good point.
But once again, thank you very much for watching. Dylan, thank you very much for having us as always. And thank you to you guys for sticking through to the end, almost 90 minutes, and to a pretty local focused podcast today. But until next time.
Before we go my NFL fans, no, there's too many games happening in preseason.
Yeah, preseason.
We'll leave it for when the season starts.
Just a brief 70-yard field goal. Huge.
Tough.
Shader Sanders actually looking like he's pretty good.
Against whatever, a third string, whatever. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Quinn Ewers looking pretty bad.
And Steelers getting the win over the Jags and Travis Hunter. Who played both sides of the ball, played wide receiver and cornerback.
Is it going to happen in the big leagues? I kind of hope we'll see him on both sides.
I know people will hope. We'll see what happens. If he's going to play a position, it better be cornerback because he's a natural cornerback.
Well, my Nanderson's getting cold, so on that, CouchSide out.
CouchSide out.